gonna be a coffee with Earl, King of Cans. King of Cans. Want some coffee? Got the cup backwards. King, oh, look at this snake. I don't know if you could see that or if I just gave everybody motion sickness. It's a cool snake. King, I'm impressed with your video. You basically you're protesting the fact that it seems that some people in the tubes are busy poisoning themselves with food and alcohol, and you're like, I'm gonna protest it. I'm not gonna drink on camera as much as I used to, or if I don't know if you said you weren't gonna do it from now on or what, but the impression I got was that you were going to not drink on camera anymore. And I respect that. I respect you mentioning it, and I think that your protest is a valid one. I went to the library and looked at. I don't know if it was called self-help or what, but there is a section just for alcohol in the library. And one of the books that I pulled out the Alcoholics Anonymous handbook. It was really interesting. It covered a lot of their history and it had a lot of stories involved, and so I pulled that out. I read the entire thing. And I pulled another book out that I believe was something called How Can I Help You? Something like How Can I Help You? I don't know if the title is exactly right, but it's something of that nature. The whole book was written in that if you have somebody in your life who's an alcoholic, who's destroying themselves, and it's not necessarily needs to be alcohol either. It can be food, anything, an abuse of the body. And there's somebody in your life that you're witnessing this, and what can you do? And the book was full of advice. Basically, all that advice was trying to encourage and help that person to seek help. But there's the thing about the entire book was kind of wrapped up in basically saying that if the person that you're trying to help doesn't cooperate, then really all you've done is kind of like you've gone through the motions of like, well, there's nothing more I could do. I've covered all the bases. I've done everything in this book. And then when it's all over with, if that person hasn't sought any kind of help, then you just have to accept that you couldn't help them. It was the damnedest self-help book. Basically saying. Basically, what it was a step-by-step process to get you to the point of realizing some people you just can't help them, and this was totally backed up by the Alcoholics Anonymous manual. I remember one story in particular that was written by a salesman, and alcohol was removing all his jobs, and he came down to where he was totally out of work. He had very little money left, and a company showed interest in buying from him, and they weren't local. And he was like, I'm going to use the last of my money to fly there, make this sale, and based on this sale, get back on my feet. And when he got there, there was a mini bar in the room, and he hit that mini bar, and then from the mini bar he went down to the bar, and woke up the next day. It was long after the meeting was supposed to take place. He was horrifically sick, so you couldn't even call them and say, I'm sorry I missed it, can we reschedule for later this afternoon? He wasn't going to make it later that afternoon, even if they were going to still buy from him after he'd screwed up the first meeting. He was in no shape to see another human being. And only once he'd spent all his money, ruined his last career opportunity, did he go to Alcoholics Anonymous and say, if this doesn't stop, I'm going to die. He didn't realize it until he had a couple $100 in his wallet, and he didn't realize it until he spent that couple $100, and there was no possibility of any more money coming into his pocket. Oh, he had a family too, and they'd given up on him, because that was the thing about, like, they wanted him to get help, and he went through the motions, the intervention, the detox, but basically he just tried to provide them with the facade they were looking for. He hid it. He became more of a secretive alcoholic, which was a real common theme in both those books that I read. So the thing is, like, yeah, you could notice it, you could say something about it, and you could protest it. And I could actually see that, maybe just having what you do on camera, drinking a beer, time and again, I don't know, it might not be the best thing, the best face to put forward. Because you mentioned actually, like, having to take down your videos for a work concern. Yeah, if you get any trouble at work, or if you end up getting in an accident, and there's a question on whether you'd been drinking that day or not, like that, you're driving your car, and then you've got 1,000 videos up of you drinking beer. That ain't gonna look good. So I think maybe like you have a point, and I guess my point is, you gotta square yourself with your own conscience, and everyone else has to, other people have to address what's going on in their own soul, or it's not going to be any good. Or it's unlikely to have any kind of value. I leafed through some of the other books. Those are the only two ones that I thought were really interesting, and nothing said, here's how you help an alcoholic, here's how you help somebody who's abusing their body. They all essentially agreed that if that person isn't committed to treatment because they decide that's the best thing for their life, then all you could do is try to minimize the damage on your own life. So what should you do? Actually, I think, and I may have this wrong, someone in your comments said, I don't make drinking videos anymore, and now not as many people watch me. And I think that's the guy that called me a douchebag. So if I have it wrong, I'm sorry. But that might be one of the reasons why people don't watch you. I know, I'm not going to watch anybody that calls me a douchebag. You douchebag. Try not watching me. Alright, King. Yeah, what do we do? I guess we throw out other facets of our personalities. I'm going to try to bike a different place every single day and film a little bit of it. I've actually loving your body, for me, is part of the reason why I do try to cut back on chips and drinking beer and stuff like that, because sometimes ripping along a trail on my bike, I feel graceful and a love for my body. So I want to be even lighter. I want to weigh less, so it's easier for me to go up and down these hills, and have more muscle. And God, I sleep much better with a lot of bike riding under my belt. All right, King. That's enough of that. I'll see you in the tubes. I look forward to how you share yourself in the future. Hopefully it won't be with your nasty friend dropping the N-word constantly. I'm sure he's a swell guy. But his way of insulting is just pushes my buttons every time he does it. I have to stop every time that guy comes on and starts dropping the N-word. All right, King. See you in the tubes.